What's happening, my friends? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Boxing matchup with D Free, hashtag TWT. Salute D Free from the TWT family. D1, hashtag JBT. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Joe in the building. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Box STORIED. Today, Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus the Legends. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box STORIED, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. How's everyone doing? Wednesday, Hump Day edition of Cast Sports, the Box STORIED. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about Floyd against the Legends. Let's talk fashion, hashtag JBT in the building. We've got 20 fighters from all different eras, like Benny Leonard from the 20s, Henry Armstrong from the 30s, Sugar Ray Robinson, Willie Pep from the 40s and 50s, Carlos Ortiz from the 60s, The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran from the 70s, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Hitman Thomas Hearns from the 80s, Pernell Whitaker from the 90s. We're going to talk about how Floyd would fare against all of these fights. And then we're going to talk about guys that he was actually in the ring against. You know, like Sugar Shane and Madonna, Oscar, Castile 1 and 2. A lot of people say that 1 was his toughest fight, but I think it was Oscar, you know. I always thought Oscar was Floyd's toughest fight, but we're going to talk about all of them. But how is everybody today? Wednesday, all going all downhill from here. Appreciate everybody rocking with me today. We usually start about 2:30. Give a few more people time to get into the building. Terrell Cameron in the building. What's up, Terrell Cameron? Good to see you today, bro. Joe. What's up, Joe? That's another boxing historian. Joe always dropping gems into the chat. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more in here. Bruce Gas said he's not a boxing historian. He just loves boxing. We got a member of the TWT family, D Free, in the building. That's another great organization. The winning team. Yup. We might just go on and get started with the show a little early today. Got some people coming over from Boxing Talk with Banky and Jay. Another fire podcast. Just getting started. I usually write names down. I'm trying to keep up today. Yeah. But Floyd Mayweather against the Legends. Mr. 50-0, okay? How would he do against Sugar Ray Robinson? Or Sugar Ray Leonard? That's a big one. That's one of the biggest dream fights. Floyd and Sugar Ray, right up there with Ali and Joe Louis, or Ali and Mike Tyson. Yeah, 60s Ali, pre-suspension. I don't think there's a heavyweight that can touch that Ali. But the Ali that lost to Trevor Berbick and Leon Spinks, yeah, I would pick a lot of them over him. Mike Rim in the building. What's up, Mike? How are you today, bro? Let's look at the rest of how we're going to finish this week off right quick. We're right in the middle of a big week of boxing history. Tomorrow, the Boxing in the State series continues with Illinois. And what the Boxing in the State series is, we're just going through every state in the country and do a little boxing history on the state, some other significant events that occurred concerning boxing in the state, and then just do a brief profile on some of the boxers from the state. And we started in the 80s, we up to Illinois. This will probably take us on into 2025 by the time we finish this one. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? Hashtag JBT. But tomorrow, the Boxing in the State series continues with Illinois. And Illinois is going to be a good one because Chicago had a deep, deep boxing history. Yeah, that's where the long count fight was between Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney in 1927. Yeah, the long count fight. That was in Chicago Stadium. That was the first $2 million gate. Promoted by old Tex Rickard. He was the Bob Father and Don King before the Bob Father and Don King. Old Tex, yeah. Tex, he owned the New York Rangers. He owned Madison Square Garden for a while there. Yep. So Illinois is going to be good tomorrow. And then Friday, we always do a profile. We finish up the week with a profile of a former boxer. This week, it's the Macho Man, the life and career of Hector Macho Camacho. That's Friday. Don't miss that one. And oh yeah, Let's Talk Fashion got another Friday show out there. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. That's our fashion show. Yeah. Remo did a great job this morning. Yeah. Fire show. Off the charts. Yep. Very good show, Remo. Doing big things over there in the JBT. Yeah. We're going to start about 2:15 today. Because I don't have to wait for more people today because they're already in here. And, like and subscribe, please, if you haven't. That helps pulling up on 1,000. We're going to get there. Rome wasn't built in a day. Let's see. We are going to get there. Cass Sports, the Box Historian, bringing you all that boxing history. Ooh, I don't already got a couple subscribers already. I appreciate it. Let's get ready to go and get started with today's show. Then we always get some link time at the end, about 3:30. Thomas Hill will come up. Like Jay said, Thomas Hill is everybody's co-host. Okay. You'll go in the chats you never heard of, and Thomas Hill will be in there on the panel. That's everybody's co-host. Thomas, the legendary Thomas T. Hill. What's up, T. Hill? But we're going to get ready to get started with today's show in a couple more minutes. Lonnie Lee will be here about 2:30. Dante's Boxing Talk. What's up, Dante? How are you? This is Cass Sports, the Box Historian, part of that Fire JBT organization, bringing you boxing history Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Today, we're going to talk about Floyd against the legends. 20 legends from different eras, all the way back to the 20s, all the way up to the 90s. Start back in the 20s with Benny Leonard, come all the way up to the 90s to Sweet Pea, just before Floyd came on the scene. And then we're going to talk about some of his toughest fights of guys he actually fought against, Yeah. So let's get ready to jump into it. Let's salute Dante's Boxing Talk in the building. Yeah, Banky and Jay sent quite a few people over here. Yeah, I would have Sugar Ray too, Joe, against Floyd. That would probably be the fastest fighter that Floyd ever was in there. Floyd was always the fastest fighter, in his fights. We got that fight with Zab too, where all hell broke loose. Roger told Floyd Zab was going to do something dirty. And he did. He hit Floyd low, and then when Floyd went down from the low blow, Zab hit him in the back of the head. Then Roger jumped in. Then Yoel Judah jumped in, Zab's father. Leonard Ellaby jumped in. But, Don King was Zab's promoter, and he was kind of right. Don King said Floyd should have been disqualified because Roger Mayweather was the first one to jump in the ring, and the seconds are not supposed to be in there during a 3-minute round. If they come in there during those 3 minutes, they better be coming in to throw the towel in. So yeah, Floyd should have been disqualified, but they didn't do it, So yeah, they would have went there 50-0. Mike Mazik in the building. What's up, Mike? Salute. How are you today? Yeah, and was a lot of fines and suspensions. I think Roger got a year, $200,000. Zab got a year. I think Yoel Judah and Leonard Ellaby got like 6 months. Hit their pockets. Yeah, but that was wild. We're gonna cover that one too, where we get into the portion where we start talking about the guys that Floyd was actually in there with. But first, let's talk about some of these legends, how Floyd would fare against them. We're gonna start at 2:15 today. So let's go with today's show. Appreciate everybody for rocking with me today. Like and subscribe. Trying to pull up 1,000. I was monetized, but they hit me last week. I don't even know what they hit me for. Took my little dollar sign away from me. I only had it like 3 weeks. But I'll get it back, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus the legend. Now, the best sports bar arguments are always cross-generational affairs. Debates over how athletes from different historical eras match up against each other. Like Johnny Unitas versus Joe Montana versus Tom Brady, or Oscar Robertson versus Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Now, boxing, with its one-on-one competition, lends itself to these discussions better than most sports, right? And trying to rank the greats from different eras against each other is a big part of boxing lore. Now, nobody understands this better than Floyd Mayweather Jr., a boxing prodigy. Floyd grew up in the sport, he had a contender as a father and a world champion as an uncle. And Floyd ended his career undefeated at 50-0. And no doubt, he's among the best ever to step into the ring. And Floyd calls himself TBE, the best ever. Now, that's a tough argument to make for any fighter, undefeated or not. And plus, Floyd's resume is kind of less than overwhelming, You talk about two of his opponents, two of his best opponents, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, were clearly over the hill when they faced Floyd. And also Juan Manuel Marquez, he was also long in the tooth at the time he fought Floyd. Now, Marquez was a perfect matchup for Floyd because, he was a fellow counterpuncher, a little slower and smaller than Floyd, but still, a person would have to be delusional. Even in looking at, when I say Floyd resume was less than overwhelming, but you would still have to be a delusional hater of Floyd, to deny that he's one of the best of both his era and all time, right? And so are all the other fighters on this list who we are going to talk about today. So let's get into it. The first one is going to be the Will of the Wisp, Willie Pep. That's not Willie Pep. That's Floyd and Sugar Ray. There's Willie Pep. Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. They had 4 fights. Yeah, 4 classics. Yeah. Okay, Willie Pep. Now, Willie Pep won 229 fights, right? Lost 11, had 1 draw. That's 241 fights in his career. And he's been widely regarded as the greatest defensive fighter who ever lived. Yeah. Some people pick him over Floyd and Sweet Pea. Now, the often repeated legend about Willie Pep is that he once won a round without throwing a single punch. That was 1947 against Jackie Graves. And Willie told the reporters at ringside to watch this round. I'm not going to throw a punch and I'm going to win it. And he didn't throw a single punch the entire round, and he just dodged his opponent's punches. Jackie Graves threw plenty of punches, but he couldn't hit Willie, and Willie won the round on ring generalship without throwing a single punch. Jay Hardcore in the building. What's up, Jay Hardcore? Appreciate all these people you sent over here to me. I was telling Miss Cass earlier, I was kind of nervous. I was going to have the most people in here I ever had, but she said just do what you normally do. Just like you got your little normal 7 or 8 people, carry it the same way. So that's what I'm going to do. But salute Jay Hardcore. Appreciate you 1,000%. Is Aunt McQueen in here? I didn't see Aunt come in. Oh, yeah, the Casuals on Friday. That's another Friday JBT show. But yeah, Willie Pep, okay, he won a round without throwing a punch. And in 1999, the Associated Press named Willie Pep as the greatest featherweight of the 20th century and the number 5 boxer overall. And on the Cass Sports pound-for-pound all-time list, Willie Pep was number 4. Only ones I had in front of him was Henry Armstrong, Muhammad Ali, and Sugar Ray Robinson. That's it. Willie was next, number 4. But as great as Willie Pep was, he probably would have been too small to execute his game plan effectively against Floyd. Willie was 5'5", and he was a natural featherweight. And he never fought higher than featherweight until the very end of his career. So I would have Floyd winning that one because Willie was kind of smallish. Yeah, natural featherweight, So yeah, Floyd his undefeated record would be intact against Willie Pep. Okay. Now that's Willie and Sandy Sadler. Next is Sandy Sadler, and that's Sandy Sadler and Willie Pep again. They had 4 fights. Yeah. The last fight was a doozy. The last fight between Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler was called the dirtiest fight of all times. They went to the mat numerous times, and one time they took the referee to the mat with them. Both of them were fined and suspended after the fight. It was so dirty. Yeah, the dirtiest fight of all time. But Sandy Sadler and Floyd. Now, Sandy Sadler, he won 144 fights, lost 16, 2 draws. That's how they fought back in that era. Him and Willie fought 40s, early 50s. Yeah, 144, 200 fights was nothing. That was the norm back then. Willie Pep, back to Willie, he fought. He had his first loss. After he suffered his first loss, he felt so bad. He had his next fight 10 days later just to get back on the winning side, and he won it. But he felt so bad about that first loss, he got back in there 10 days later. Yep, but that's how they did it back then. Jake LaMotta, him and Sugar Ray's second and third fight was 3 weeks apart. And then after that third Sugar Ray fight, Jake had another fight a couple weeks later. He fought like 3 times in like a little over a month. That was the norm. Okay. Now Sandy Sadler, like I was saying, he was Willie Pep's greatest rival. Between 1948 and 1951, they fought 4 times. Now Sadler won 3 of the 4. Okay. And he lost 1 by unanimous decision. But it wasn't like it was dominated by Sadler. 4 very competitive fights. He just happened to win 3 of them. And this was probably the premier series in the lower weight classes during that era. And Willie had been in a plane crash the year before he fought Sadler. And that was before their first fight. And boxing experts who follow Willie's career agree he was never quite the same after the plane crash. And the doctors told him after the plane crash he had to give up boxing. And Willie said the only thing he was giving up was going to be flying at night. And he fought like 10 more times that year after being in a plane crash. Crazy, ain't it? What's up, Terrell Cameron? In the building. Salute, Terrell. Yeah. Man was in a plane crash and suffered some bad injuries and then fought 10 times that year after that, man. Some tough guys back then, man. No doubt. Okay. But Sandy Sadler. And, knocking out the great defense. He knocked out Willie Pep 3 times, and that's an accomplishment. One of the greatest defensive fighters ever, stopped him 3 times. Now, Sadler was a little bit more slender than Floyd, But he would have been a tough matchup for Floyd. Okay, he was a tough matchup for everybody. He was regarded as one of the sport's roughest fighters, and that was a brutal, rough and tumble era that he fought in. Okay, and yeah, Sadler was kind of a dirty fighter too, and just like remember Victor Ortiz hit Buddy Floyd. That would have been the kind of thing that Sadler would have done to him, right? And you can be sure if Sandy Sadler hit Buddy Floyd, he wouldn't try to shake his hand and make up afterwards, you know. But I think Floyd's defensive skills and counterpunching ability would have handled Sadler, okay? But you got to take into consideration Floyd never faced the skilled and relentless boxer / brawler of Sadler's ability, okay? But his old probably would have still been intact after the Sadler fight. But he never faced anybody like Sandy Sadler. Not at all. Next is Flash Eladay, Filipino fighter. This Flash on the right. Trump in the building. What's up, Trump? How are you? Yeah, we started a little early today, Trump. Trump probably said 225. He already in the subject of the show. Yeah. But you only missed a couple. You missed Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. Flash Eladay is next. That's him on the right. Now, how would he fare against Floyd? Now, Flash Eladay, he won 87 fights, lost 27, had 2 draws, right? And he's on the short list along with Manny Pacquiao as the greatest Filipino fighter of all time. And like Manny, Flash was a southpaw. And he exploded onto the international boxing scene in 1955 when he won a 10-round unanimous decision over Sandy Sadler. Yeah, and that is him and Sandy on the screen. Yeah, it was a non-title fight, right? And then they had a rematch 5 months later, and Eladay was winning that one. But Sadler stopped him by TKO in the 13th round. They had to stop it due to a cut over Sadler's eye, right? Now, Floyd would have about 3 inches in height on Eladay and 4 inches in reach, right? And that would be a decisive advantage for a counterpuncher like Floyd. So yeah, his O would still be intact after Eladay. Yeah, I would say so. But after 3 of them, Floyd still got his O. Azuma Nelson. That's Azuma on the right there. Yeah, Azuma Nelson. Called himself the Professor. Now he back toward this era, so he had 39. He only had 47 fights. Well, that's enough. But looking at, the guys we just talked about, 47 is low. Azuma won 39, lost 6, had 2 draws, right? He was among the greatest featherweights and junior lightweights of the 1980s and early 1990s, right? And he's a national hero in his native Ghana, right? And he's dedicated much of his post-boxing career to improving education in the coastal African country. Yep. And the sport of boxing has had few ambassadors better than Azuma Nelson. Right? Now, against Floyd. Now Nelson, he could have handled. I don't see how he could have handled Floyd, because when he went up to lightweight to challenge Pernell Whitaker, he lost a competitive but decisive unanimous decision. It was competitive, but Pernell pretty much had his way with him. So I think a Floyd fight would have been similar. So after 4 of them, Floyd's O is still intact. Now, I don't know now. Joe Gans, the great Joe Gans, that O might just be in jeopardy. Joe Gans, we going way back, almost to the 19th century. Now you got your Hall of Famers, all-time greats, and legends. And the old master Joe Gans was all of them. He was all of these things, man. And Yeah, and then a lot of I don't have a record for him because they didn't really keep records back in those days. So there are records for him, but nobody's really sure what his record was, right? And Ring Magazine's the founder of Ring Magazine, Nate Fleischer, ranked Joe Gans as the greatest lightweight of all time, and that's saying something because Henry Armstrong, Benny Leonard, Roberto Duran, yeah, Nat Fleischer. That's big advice from Nat Fleischer. He ranked Gans as the greatest lightweight of all time, right? Now they think he had about around 150 fights, something like that, right? But they say he won 145, lost about 10. But as impressive as that is, it doesn't tell half the story about this man. At the turn of the century, wait a minute, excuse me for one moment. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. Now, at the turn of the last century, when Joe Gans fought, boxing was a quasi-legal affair, and only a fraction of fights were even recorded, Boxing fans frustrated by the Pacquiao-Mayweather impasse to go read up on a guy like Joe Gans. Then you would really be depressed by the sorry state that things he had to go through during his career, right? He had a whole bunch of draws because a lot of them was wins, and they just wouldn't give them to him. And in his day, not only did the best fighters in a weight class fight each other, they often fought again and again and again, right? And they fought a lot outside of their weight classes. And I can't even really say what would happen if Joe Gans and Mayweather had ever fought, right? Because there's not too much video on Joe Gans, right? Just haven't seen too much of it. But to be an all-time great in Joe Gans' day, you had to battle through a level of competition and adversity that Floyd Mayweather can only imagine. Floyd never went through anything like Joe Gans had to go through. And here's what some of his contemporaries thought about it. Sam Langford called him the greatest boxer of all time. Benny Leonard, who is generally considered the next best lightweight in history next to Joe Gans, idolized him. Bob Fitzsimmons, he was the first of only 2 fighters in history to capture undisputed linear world titles in 3 of boxing's 8 traditional weight classes. He called Gans the cleverest fighter he's ever seen. Okay? Abe Attell said Joe Gans was the greatest lightweight that ever entered a ring. He said in his prime, no fighter of his weight class was his equal. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. And the next one is Benny Leonard, the great Benny Leonard. He spoke so highly about Joe Gans. There's Benny. But yeah, I couldn't really say it between Joe and Floyd because there's not too much film or anything of Joe Gans. He fought back around that time. Don't even know what his true record is. Benny Leonard, there's Benny. Now, Benny was born in 1897 on Manhattan's Lower East Side, okay? Now, he should be viewed a kind of ultimate New York icon. He was the first native-born New Yorker to win a world title. Yeah, Benny Leonard. Now, he won 90, lost 17, had 7 draws. He's from that era. And he emerged from the brutal New York City club fighter scene as a largely self-taught fighter. His nickname was the Ghetto Wizard. Now, a Mayweather-Benny Leonard fight would be a matchup of master tacticians. As with many of the men on this list, you need to discount the win-loss record because almost all of Benny Leonard's losses came early in his career when he was learning his craft and fighting every week or two, right? For like $20 a fight. So all those losses he's had, you can discount them. Now, and Benny had a run of dominance in his prime that compares more than favorable to Mayweather's own career. And Benny never took any 2-year breaks, okay? Leonard is one of the really interesting figures in the sports history. But you still would have to give the nod to Floyd, the larger modern day athlete. Okay, so Floyd gets the nod on that one too. Floyd is still undefeated after about 5 or 6 of them. Carlos Ortiz, he was like the 60s, somewhere around, and it is Carlos Ortiz. Now, if Benny Leonard was the iconic New York City lightweight of the World War I era, Carlos Ortiz held that distinction for the 1950s and 60s. Now, he had 68 fights. He won 60, lost 7, had 1 draw. Okay? Now, he was among the first junior welterweight champions, when they first created that division. He was one of the first champions at junior lightweight. But junior lightweight didn't mean too much in the late 1950s. And after he lost that belt to Julio Loy in 1961, he went down in weight, right? And for the better part of the decade, he ruled the lightweight as lightweight champion of the world, right? Almost for the entire decade. Now, Carlos Ortiz was precisely the type of fighter that Floyd might have trouble with. Aggressive, straight ahead fighter with decent head movement, who can bang with a good body puncher. But we still have to give the nod to Floyd, right? Because he had the talent and ring intelligence to be great in any era, right? But it would have been a real tough fight. Yeah, because Carlos was different, and he was top level. Can't call that one easy. Now, Floyd's haters like to pretend that he's some kind of sissy, but the fact is he has always reacted to pressure with manly aplomb. And in his prime, Carlos Ortiz would probably be a tougher challenge to Mayweather, tougher challenge than Floyd has ever faced. But ultimately, Floyd would simply be too much for Ortiz too. Too much finesse. Alexis Arguello. What happened to him? Must have hit something. Here's Alexis Arguello. Joe. Melanin Queen in the building. What's up, Melanin Queen? Salute. I didn't mention the raffle either. Yeah, you didn't send me that commercial, email me that commercial yesterday neither, but we got the raffle going on. Y'all done heard about it. 3 first place prizes: Apple 10th generation iPhone, pair of Kaniki Bear headphones, and an air fryer. $10 will get you in. $25 will get you 3 chances. Yep. Just send $10 or $25 right here. $, ABT Network, all capital letters. And the number 1. Here it is right there. $10 for 1 chance. $25 for iPad. Thank you, T Hill. I'm trying to do 2 things. There it is right there. Melanin Queen. Bail me out every time. There we go. Apple 10th generation iPad. 2nd place is the Kaniki Bear headphones. Or 3rd place is the Ninja air fryer. Winner will be announced October 12th. Good luck. But there really isn't a 2nd and 3rd place. It's like 3 first place prizes. I want those earphones, but I can't get in. Jay, you might get somebody else to do the drawing, man. I'm getting in to get them earphones. Nah, I'll pass. But when we raffle off that car, I'm getting in on that one. Alexis Arguello. Everybody hitting the like, subscribe to the channel, support the grind. Appreciate everybody rocking with me today. Now, Alexis Arguello, right? He had 85 fights. He won 77, lost 8. And his nickname was El Flaco, which means the explosive thin man, okay? Now, he was a power puncher who could finish fights quickly, you know. And thinking about the fight between Floyd and Mayweather kind of reminds you of the fight with Diego Corrales, another tall, thin fighter with big punching power. Yeah, Alexis Arguello and Floyd would probably be similar to a Diego Corrales fight. And a lot of people expected that to be a tough matchup for Floyd, but it wasn't so. But Corrales was no Alexis Arguello neither, right? And Arguello would definitely be a tough fight for Floyd. But ultimately, Floyd would probably be too quick and slick for Alexis. So we done came through like about 8. Floyd has still got his O. Okay. Now, I don't know now, though. That O might be getting ready to go. Next is the Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. That O might be getting ready to go, T. Hill. Roberto Duran. I don't know. Now, Roberto Duran was 103-16. He had like fought the kind of career that guys back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s fought in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. All those fights, you know, by that point, people wasn't fighting like that anymore, but Duran was. But Floyd's expert counterpunching, it would create problems for Roberto, but there's doubt whether Floyd will be able to land enough punches to discourage Duran's relentless forward pressure, okay? And under trainer Ray Arcel, Roberto developed a pretty tricky defense too to complement his overwhelming offense. Remember we talked about defense Monday? Yeah. Roberto's defense was underrated because he was such a pressure offensive fighter, but he had a good defense, okay? Now, I think Roberto would be able to work his way inside on Floyd, attack the body, slow him down, and the O is gone. Roberto Duran takes the O, okay? The Hands of Stone takes Floyd's O. What you think about that, Jay Hardcore? I got Roberto Duran taking that O. That's his first loss, Roberto Duran. Okay, so he got one loss now. Joe, what y'all think? T. Hill, Jay, you think Roberto would have took that O from him? I do. Okay, but next is Julio Cesar Chavez. Now they came close. You know, Julio was like toward the end when Floyd was coming in there, but they never met up because Julio had moved up some. You know, when Floyd was coming into, what Floyd coming at lightweight, something like that. Julio had moved up like what, welterweight, junior middleweight by then. When Julio was down in those lower divisions, like the early 80s when he came in, right? Julio Cesar Chavez, 107 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, right? He actually stopped Floyd's uncle, Roger, remember? That was in 1989. Yeah, he stopped Roger, but Roger wasn't Floyd neither, though. Okay. So, you know, needless to say, beating Floyd would be a completely different story, right? Now, this would be similar to Roberto Duran and Floyd, okay? Except that Chavez probably didn't have Duran's defense ability. Yeah, Roberto's defense was underrated. And similar to Chavez and Pernell Whitaker, right? That fight was ruled a draw, but it was clearly a win for Sweet Pea. Remember, Sports Illustrated put Sweet Pea on the cover that week and had robbed big letters as the headline, yeah. But Floyd, Chavez would be very similar, okay? Mayweather would be able to stay away from Chavez and beat him by decision, okay? So, still got that one loss to Roberto Duran. Floyd got one loss. Roberto Duran took the O, okay? Joe says Chavez was something like 87-0. But Joe, he got a couple of gifts in there too, though. His record was 87-0, but he wasn't really 87-0 because he got a couple of decisions in there. He was never 87. I mean, officially he was, but realistically he wasn't. He got a couple of big gifts in there, okay? Big, huge gifts. So So that man never was 87-0. Okay. Salvador Sanchez. This might be loss number 2 for Floyd. This might be number 2. Now, Salvador Sanchez was just amazing, man. He is in the Hall of Fame, thought as one of the greatest featherweights of all time. And he didn't fight past his 23rd birthday. The man died in a car accident at 23 years old. Got nowhere near his prime, man. And look how legend, thought it was one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. Never got near his prime, man. Just amazing. 23 years old when his career ended. Okay. He's one of boxing's biggest what-if stories. You know, he died in a car crash at age 23. He had already compiled a professional record of 44 wins, just 1 loss, okay? And that came when he was like 16, you know, when he first started. And he established himself as a dominant featherweight champion. It seems obvious that more world titles at higher weight classes would have been waiting for him had he not had that accident. Now, he was an explosive two-fisted puncher, complete fighter who could pressure an opponent and also aggressively counterpunch. Okay? Yeah, I started a little early today. Yeah, Melanin Queen. And the man is legendary in the Hall of Fame, thought of as one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. Didn't go fight past 23 years old. Got nowhere near his prime. He is boxing's biggest what-if story. Not one of them. He is the biggest what-if story in boxing history. Now, and Salvador had the speed to match Floyd, right? And his more aggressive style, you know, the judges would have gave him rounds for that. Okay? And there's loss number 2 for Floyd. So let's note that Floyd lost to Roberto Duran and he lost to Salvador Sanchez. Okay, that's 2 losses. 50-2 now. Duran and Salvador Sanchez, okay? It's 2 losses for Floyd. Duran took the O. Salvador Sanchez just gave him his 2nd loss. Yep. Okay. Next is Delio Loy. Okay. Now, he was 115 wins, just 3 losses, okay? 8 draws. This man had 125 fights. No, 123, excuse me. No, 15-3, 126 fights. Get your math together, Cass. And just 3 losses, okay? And he was perhaps the greatest fighter to ever come out of Italy and one of the first junior welterweight champions, okay? He was back there around that time when they first started the junior welterweight division. Delio Loy was, okay? And he took the title from Carlos Ortiz, who was also one of the first junior welterweight champions, remember? We covered Carlos. He came close to beating Floyd, but Floyd pulled it out. Now, Loy was a short, stocky fighter who attacked the body ferociously. And not too much footage on him either. But Floyd would have been able to control the distance against him with his jab and footwork and, you know, safely sniped on Delio from a safe distance. So Floyd takes that one. Still only got 2. Roberto took Floyd's O. Roberto Duran, the hands of stone. And Salvador Sanchez gave Floyd his 2nd loss. Now a good one. We came close to this one. Sweet Pea and Floyd, you know, they wasn't too far apart. They was fighting at the same time, but, you know, never fought, right? Sweet Pea was still around when Floyd came in 96. Yeah, but they sparred a lot. Like Jay Hardcore said, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in there, man. But see, back then, sparring stayed in the gym. Like now the guys come out, I beat his ass in sparring. I had him bloody. Back then, you didn't hear that kind of shit, man. Guys sparred, and you never heard nothing. Only the people in the gym heard about it. You know, it wasn't like these guys, because sparring was sparring. It had nothing to do with the actual fight. But nowadays, you think these guys beat somebody in sparring, you think they done took the title from them. You know? It's crazy. This area is all messed up, man. You know? I come from the 70s era. But yeah, But Floyd, you would have had to been a fly on the wall to hear about Floyd and Sweet Pea spawn, because that kind of stuff didn't get out back in them days. It just didn't. Now, if Willie Pep was the greatest defensive fighter of all time, then Sweet Pea has got to be a pretty close second place. Okay, arguably the best. You can make a good argument for Sweet Pea to be better than Willie Pep. I would pick Willie Pep, but you can make a good argument for Sweet Pea being better. Ray Patterson, straight out of the great state of New Jersey, in the building. What's up, RP? How are you today? Started a little early, RP. Lonnie Lee in here? I haven't seen Lonnie Lee. Anybody seen Lonnie Lee? Lonnie gets off at 2:30. All jobs don't play that, sitting up in there with that earpiece in your ear. So some people got to wait till they get off to come on YouTube. Some jobs don't play that. Sitting up there listening to YouTube while you're supposed to be working. But I haven't seen anybody seen Lonnie Lee. Okay, we're gonna have a lot of link time today too, because it started early. And Thomas Hill is in here. Like Jay said, Thomas Hill is everybody's co-host. Like I said, you go and find a channel on YouTube you never heard of. Go in there, Thomas Hill up on the panel. What's up, T Hill? But he's my co-host too, the legendary Thomas Hill. Now, this matchup, what makes it intriguing is that Whitaker could have outslicked Floyd, right? Floyd would have been in one of the very unfamiliar roles that fighters tried to do to him. Floyd might have been the one that had to try to turn this fight ugly. Fighters try to get in there and rough Floyd up like Madonna and guys like that. That might have been Floyd's role against Sweet Pea, something Floyd wouldn't have been used to. He might have had to turn this fight ugly. But Pernell Whitaker at the top of his game probably would give Floyd his third loss. So that's 3. I got Roberto Duran took his old, Salvador Sanchez gave him his second loss, and I'm picking Sweet Pea. So Floyd is now 50-3. Okay, yeah. Roberto Duran, Salvador Sanchez, Whitaker. Yeah, I think all of them would have took care of Floyd. Okay, D. Free says Sweet Pea also trained Floyd as well as Chop Shop Cooley. Okay, from D. Free, from the winning team. Salute D. Free. Good to have you today, bro. Hope to see you again. Yeah, Sweet Pea also trained Floyd. I did not know that. As well as Chop Cooley. I'm learning too. Yeah. Okay. Now who's next? Yeah, Roberto, Salvador Sanchez, Sweet Pea. Barney Ross. This might be number 4. Barney Ross was bad. He was back in the day. There's Barney. 72 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws. He was one of the dominant light and welterweight fighters of the 1930s. Okay. He lost his title to Henry Armstrong in 1938. Nothing to hang your head about there, Henry Armstrong, right? And he later went into the Marine Corps, okay? And he won a Silver Star fighting at Guadalcanal, okay, during World War II. Now, he was among the very best during a tough and competitive era. His 3-fight series for the welterweight title against Jimmy McLaurin, those were classics. But this might be another case where the modern athlete Floyd will have too much of a size and speed advantage, okay? Even as the welterweight champ, the 5'7" Ross weighed in the low 140s. So yeah. But he was a tough old school fighter, but Floyd would take that one, okay? So far, Floyd got 3 losses. Roberto Duran, Salvador Sanchez, and Sweet Pea. Yep. Joe says Barney Ross was a war hero, a junkie, and a cancer victim. Damn. Wow, Barney. Okay. Wilfred Benitez. There's Wilfred Benitez. Wilfred fought 3 of the 4 kings, but only 4 kings in the deck. So he beat Duran. He lost to Sugar Ray and Hearns, but he never fought Hagler. Yeah, but he fought 3 of the 4 kings. Had 53 wins, 8 losses, and he had 1 draw during his career, right? He was a boxing prodigy of the same order as Floyd was, the son of a boxing family. His father also trained Esteban de Jesus. Wilfred's father trained him, and he trained Esteban de Jesus too. Esteban de Jesus was the only man to beat Roberto Duran in the 70s. I think Duran was like 71-1, something like that in the 70s. Yeah, he ran through the 70s. But he had a trilogy with Esteban de Jesus, and Duran won 2 out of 3. But Esteban gave him his first loss, and he was the only man to beat Roberto in the 70s. Esteban de Jesus, trained by Wilfred Benitez's father. Yeah. And yeah, Wilfred grew up around the sport just like Floyd. And he turned professional at age 15. Wilfred is the youngest at 17. Still the youngest world champion in history. And when he won that belt, some of his high school classmates was in the audience watching the fight. Ain't that something to go to school and brag about? Like, yeah, you the quarterback of the football team, but I'm a boxing world champion. And I'm making money. So yeah, Wilfred had the bragging rights in that one. Yeah, some of his classmates was in the audience when he won his title at 17. Yeah, that was a WBA 140-pound strap. Beat Antonio Cervantes, right? While his high school classmates cheered him on. I'm getting ahead of myself a little, but yeah, they were there at the fight. Now his career went downhill fast after the early 80s. Okay, started out brilliantly. Was an elite fighter at a fairly young age, and looking at the way Wilfred went down, you got to appreciate the way Floyd stayed focused professionally in such a brutal sport for so long, man. Now Floyd Benitez fight would excite the boxing purists, right? People that like the sweet science, but it might thrill the more casual fan too, because now Benitez was a longer fighter, and he had a far superior resume than Floyd. But guess what? That's loss number 4 for Floyd. Wilfred Benitez. That's number 4. Now Floyd wasn't going to come out of this against these legends still with that undefeated record. No. He got 4 losses now. Roberto Duran, Salvador Sanchez, Pernell Whitaker, and Wilfred Benitez. Yep. Floyd got 4 losses. Yes, he does. Now, this might be 5. There he is. This might be number 5, Floyd. The Hawk. This might be number 5, the Hawk. Now, the Hawk, before yesterday, I never knew the Hawk had lost a fight. Yep, he was 39-1. Amazing knockout rate. Got my calculator right here. 39-1 with 35 knockouts. That's a very impressive knockout rate. How about it? Damn, calculator. Oh, there it won't come on. Like, there we go. Knockout rate of 89.7%. Might supposed to say 90. That's very impressive, man. So this might be number 5. Now, he was definitely one of the greatest junior welterweights of the century, of all time. Arguably the greatest, okay? Now, the only loss in his career he was way past his prime, came to Bobby Joe Young. Remember we talked about that yesterday? Bobby Joe Young was one of the one-hit wonders, and he got that when he beat the Hawk. Never got near another title after that, but yeah. Joe says, what time is it? It's Hawk time. Yeah. But yeah, Hawk was definitely one of the best junior welterweights. Him and Sugar Ray actually had a fight. Well, I don't know if it was signed, but they were talking about fighting. But that's when Hearns detached that retina, and then Sugar Ray retired. And when he came back, Pryor was sort of like going out of control. And so him and Sugar Ray never picked the talks back up. But they were talking about fighting one time. Yep, the Hawk. He fought Hearns in the amateurs. I think, didn't the Hawk win that one, T. Hill? I think. Me and T. Hill was talking about that the other day. Let us know in the chat, T. Hill, who won that fight between the Hawk and the Hearns in the amateurs. There's Lonnie Lee. We started early today too, Lonnie. But Lonnie Lee is in the building. Hashtag JBT. We got some TWT in here, the winning team, D Free from the winning team, another fire organization. Yep. And Lonnie Lee from the JBT just came in here. Okay. Yeah, the Hawk. Now, he was one of the most exciting fighters of all time because when the referee was standing there ready for the point to ring the bell, the Hawk would point that finger at that guy. When that bell ring, man, he went full speed across the ring and just attacked. And he did that for 15 rounds then. He did that for 15 rounds, man. He just attacked. I don't know how he lost that one fight. I never knew he had a loss before yesterday. He was like a ferocious whirlwind who threw punches from every angle and every level. He's got the record for the most punches in a combination, about 15. Now, Floyd's style would have made for a difficult fight, right? But Floyd would probably take the lead early, but Floyd would not be able to slow the Hawk down for the entire fight because Pryor would have kept coming like he always did. And eventually he would have slowed Floyd down. And guess what? Floyd suffers his first stoppage loss to the Hawk. Okay? So now Floyd got 5 losses and got stopped one time. Okay? Roberto Duran took it to O. Salvador Sanchez beats Floyd. Pernell Whitaker beats him. Wilfred Benitez beats him. And Aaron Pryor stops him. Okay? Aaron Pryor stops him. Next is the legendary Henry Armstrong. I done told the story on this man many times, man. When there was only 8 weight classes, Henry Armstrong was champion in 3 of them. And he was going up and down defending all 3 belts at the same time. And he just missed being champion in 4 by a controversial draw. Everybody at ringside thought that Henry won the fight, but they called it a draw. So he would have been champion in half the weight classes at the same time if he'd have won that fight. But he was champion in 3 of them. And this man fought 30 times in 1937, 11 times in 1938, 31 times in 2 years, and guess what? He won all of them. That's an entire career nowadays. 31 times in 2 years? He did it. I'm sorry, Floyd. Here comes loss number 6. Floyd gonna be up in double-digit losses by the time I get finished. Here comes number 6, Floyd. Sorry. Henry Armstrong had 150 wins, 21 losses, 10 draws. And 21 losses because, he was fighting the top fighters every time he fought, Wasn't no tune-ups or anything. No, the man never fought a fight where, he knew he was gonna win it. Every fight he fought, he had a chance. It was against somebody that could potentially beat him. That's how they fought back then. You didn't have no fights where you knew who was going to win. Okay, 30s, 20s, 40s. So, like I was saying, I got to hit of it again. 8 weight class champion. Bypassed that. Now he challenged for the middleweight title against Seferino Garcia. Came up just short earlier. I already said that. I got to stop getting ahead of myself. But depending upon which report you read, he may or may not have been robbed. But he came that close to being the world champion in half of the sport's 8 weight divisions at that time. Because we didn't have the juniors and the supers, right? It was just the straight, lightweight, featherweight, welterweight, middleweight, on up. Wasn't no cruiserweight, or light heavyweight. It was just straight through 8 weight classes, okay? Now, he was called Homicide Hank. And he fought with the same explosive cyclone style as guess who? Aaron Pryor. He was just as quick as Floyd too. And he would have attacked Floyd relentlessly. Okay. I don't think he would have, because he he didn't come at you as hard as Aaron Pryor did. So I don't think he would have stopped Floyd. But I don't know. Floyd suffers his second stop. Homicide Hank gets him out of there late. Okay. So he suffers his second stop. That's 6 losses for Floyd. Approaching double-digit losses. That's 6 or 7. Duran, Sanchez, Pernell, Whitaker, Benitez, Pryor, Armstrong. That's 6. And 2 stoppages. Aaron Pryor and Henry Armstrong stopped Floyd. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, the lights looking good, Lonnie. Jay Hardcore brought a lot of people over for him in the Banky Pounds show today. And the people sticking around. Appreciate it. This is what we do every day over here on Cat Sports There too. It's boxing history. I hope some people come back. Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. The Box, STORIED, bringing you all that boxing history. My nickname is courtesy of Thomas Hill. And I gave him the nickname T. Hill. Now, Floyd's got 6 losses, right? 1, 2, 3. Here comes number 7. We're going to get him up in double-digit losses. Here comes number 7, the Hitman, Thomas Hearns. Now, Thomas Hearns was 6'1", right? He was always Sugar Ray Leonard's toughest matchup. And I thought he had Sugar Ray beat the first fight, then he got stopped. And I thought he won the second fight. Sugar Ray never outboxed Hearns. Hearns outboxed him twice. But I think he got a little robbed the second fight. Sugar Ray even admitted it. I saw Sugar Ray and Hearns and Shane Mosley on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. And Sugar Ray told Hearns to his face that Hearns beat him in that second fight. Yeah, I saw that with my own 4 eyes. Now, Hearns was too talented of a fighter to finesse. And without Leonard's power, can't see how Mayweather could possibly beat the Hitman. Just can't see it, man. If anybody on this list would have been able to dominate Floyd, it would be this man right here. Floyd suffers his third stoppage loss to the Hitman. Okay? So Floyd's now lost 7 fights. He's been stopped 3 times. Damn, I lost my list. I was writing down the names. Yes. I lost my list, man. Anybody remember? Oh, man. Bear with me for a minute. Let's review. Roberto Duran took Floyd's O, right? Then Salvador Sanchez beat him. I think Benitez was next. There. Okay, yeah. Benitez was next. I believe. I know he got like 8 losses. Benitez was next. Then somebody was before. Oh, Whitaker. Sweepy was third, his third loss. Sweepy. Then Benitez. Then the Hawk Aaron Pryor stopped Floyd. Okay. Then Henry Armstrong stopped him. Then the Hitman stopped him. So Floyd has got stopped 3 times in a row now. Aaron Pryor, Henry Armstrong, and Thomas Hearns all stopped for his 7 losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 8 losses. I'm missing somebody. Sweepy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bear with me for a minute. Duran, Sanchez, Pernell Whitaker, Benitez, Pryor. Yeah, that's 7. And he's got stopped in his last 3 fights. Sorry, Floyd. I'm just keeping it 100, man. You know? Keeping it 100. And these guys, man, just like Floyd's conditioning was always the key in him winning fights, all these guys are in great condition because these guys fought 15, 20 times a year. They didn't have time to get out of shape. So, yeah, Floyd's conditioning would not be a big factor against the guys from these eras, man. No. So he couldn't count on that conditioning. So next, oh, man, here comes loss number 9. Damn. I'm sorry, Floyd fans. What is this, 8 or 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 8. Here comes loss number 8. Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm so sorry. Some of these people might not come back, man. I did this to Floyd. Damn. I apologize. Real Prison Talk with Tommy. Hey, Coach, we got Floyd against the Legends today. Guess what? Floyd got 8 losses so far, been stopped 3 times. He got 8 losses. He been stopped 3 times so far. And we still got some more to go. I'm getting everything all mixed up, man. Yeah. But salute Prison Talk with Tommy. That's another fire JBT channel. Check it out. He's dropping some fire videos over there. That a real great story to tell. Real Prison Talk with Tommy. I mean, I'm just, going over the facts, man. Floyd's conditioning was a big factor in a lot of his wins, but these guys, man, I thought they take 15, 20 times a year. Conditioning would have not have been a thing in any of these fights, man. These guys would have been in just as good a condition as Floyd. Here comes loss number 8, Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay? But Floyd's going to win some more, too, so we got some more. Don't feel too bad. He's going to win some more. He's going to win some more. Okay. What did you say, Joe? Terrell, I'm sorry. Terrell is a Floyd fan. Since his fantasy, does Floyd keep the IQ? His hands work perfect. Work ethic. Yeah, Remo. Yeah, he keeps it. Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, Sugar Ray was 36-3, draw 40 fights in his career. He actually fought Floyd Mayweather Sr. in 1978. He won by TKO in the 10th round. And Sr. gave Sugar Ray one of his tough fights. And that was before Sugar Ray became a champion. Okay? And now, the son was far more gifted, and he would have pushed Leonard much harder than his father did. But it would be a much more closer fight than Mayweather and Hearns. But I don't see how Sugar Ray could beat Leonard either. Now, pretty even as far as defense. But Sugar Ray had far more offensive firepower and has a much better resume. So that's loss number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it would be a decision. Sugar Ray wouldn't stop him. No, Sugar Ray wouldn't stop him. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Hope everybody enjoying the show. Oh no. Here comes number 9. Damn. Here comes number 9. Sugar Ray Robinson. I told you I'm gonna get you Floyd to double-digit losses. This might be a stoppage. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Sugar Ray Robinson is next. Sugar Ray Robinson. Now, any fighter that wants to be in the argument for the greatest of all time, this is who you're ultimately going to be measured against, Sugar Ray Robinson, right? 173 wins, 19 losses, 6 draws. He's who they invented the pound-for-pound list for, okay? He had blazing foot and hand speed and explosive punching power in both hands. Knocked people out going backwards, right? And he fought during perhaps the most competitive era in boxing history. And guess what? He dominated during that era, okay? He had some of the greatest moments in the middleweight division. Probably be a size mismatch for Floyd, okay? And Sugar Ray could do everything Floyd could do, and much better. So Sugar Ray stops him. Sugar Ray stops him. That's 9 losses and 5 stoppages. 5 stoppage losses. Okay? Or 4. I mean, this ain't no to dump on Floyd, but These are just the facts. Sugar Ray was the final one. Now, let's talk about some of Floyd's guys he actually did for it. But against the legends, to review, Roberto Duran takes Floyd's O. Salvador Sanchez beats him. Pernell Whitaker beats him. Wilfred Benitez beats him. Aaron Pryor stops him. Henry Armstrong stops him. The Hitman stops him. Sugar Ray Leonard gets the decision. And Sugar Ray Robinson stops him. Okay? Now we're going to look at some of Floyd's fights that he was actually in. I'm glad I did start early because I started on time. I might not have got it done. What y'all think about that? T Hill? I'm going to drop the link so we can get some people to come up and hit the link and talk about it. For everybody, man. D Free, everybody. Hit that link. We're going to drop Bruce Gas. We're going to drop it in about 15 minutes. We're going to go over real quick these fights that Floyd was actually in. I got too much stuff up here. 2 phones for a laptop. Okay. We're going to talk about these fights that Floyd... Oh, it's the wrong phone. That's a chat phone. Damn. Bear with me for a minute, please. Appreciate everybody rocking with me, though. And the lights are looking good. People in the building looking good. And I hope some people come back, man, because this is what we do every day. Boxing history. Tomorrow we're going to talk about boxing in the states continues. That's just a series where we're going through every state in the country in alphabetical order. We're up to the I's. Tomorrow's going to be Illinois. It's going to be good because Chicago had a deep boxing history, man. Had some big fights there. The University of Illinois had got a good boxing program there. College, yeah. And the Golden Gloves actually started in Chicago, remember? The editor of the Chicago Tribune started the Golden Gloves. So we got a lot to talk about tomorrow. And then Friday, we always end the week with a profile, and it's who is it? Oh, the Macho Man, Hector Camacho. Friday, yeah. Yep, Hector Camacho. We're gonna talk about Hector. We do a former boxer every week, every Friday. This week's gonna be Hector. Yeah, Hector. Life ended sadly, man. Down there, he got killed down there, man. Yeah, but they got. I don't know if they got all of them, but they got a couple of guys that was that did it. I think they in prison right now where they belong at, you know. Okay. Bruce says Hagler took on. Yeah. Yeah, Floyd never went to middleweight though, so that's why Hagler wasn't included, because you know. Hagler fought at middleweight his entire career. Yeah. Lost that fight to Sugar Ray and went on off into the sunset. But he did stay around for like 15 months waiting for Sugar Ray. But Sugar Ray said he was retired. And then once Hagler gave up after, I think it was 14 or 15 months, Sugar Ray came back a month later. That's kind of like a duck. I like Sugar Ray, but that's kind of like a duck. But the first person is Floyd and Shane Mosley. Okay, Floyd and Shane Mosley. This was May 1st, 2010, right? Now on the cards, this fight between two future Hall of Famers, Sugar Shane Mosley and Floyd Money Mayweather. This was Pretty Boy around that time, wasn't it? It wasn't even close on the card. But it was a tough fight. In round 2, that right there on the screen, Mosley caught Floyd with a blistering shot that had Floyd badly buzzed and hanging on in survival mode, right? And that right there proved that Floyd had a beard on him, man. But he took back control of the fight in the next round, and he was never seriously in trouble after that. And but he got hit flush in the face. It's never easy, especially when the punches be coming from a multi-division champion like Sugar Shane. That was a tough fight for Floyd. Now this one was a doozy here. Not just because of the fight, man. It was what happened during it. Floyd and sad. There you go. April 8th, 2006. I was watching that when all that mess happened on TV. Now, for a time in the middle part of that decade, Floyd and Zed was the most anticipated matchup in boxing. And they seemed to be cut from the same cloth. Both men were brash, cocky, young champions with dazzling speed and excellent technical skills. But when Carlos Baldomir shockingly upset Zab, it looked like this fight was going to be off. He tried to cheat for Zab because Baldomir won that fight by unanimous decision. One judge gave it to Zab, but they wanted Zab and Floyd so bad. But the Godfather and Don King still got together and made the fight, right? Floyd and Zab. Now, Zab started strongly, and he gave Floyd fits in the early rounds, but he could never really match Floyd's speed and his southpaw stance. Presented a puzzle to Floyd, but he couldn't match his speed. And you know what? Roger Mayweather told Floyd a couple times in the early rounds that Zab gonna do something dirty. He used colorful language like initials MF. That MF gonna do something dirty, and Roger called it. In the 10th round, Zab hit Floyd low. Then Floyd kind of like bent forward, and Zab hit him in the back of the head. That's when Roger jumped in there. Then Yoel Judah jumped in there, Zab's father, and then Ellaby jumped. Then everybody jumped in there. But they got it. Figured out. But it was some suspensions and fines, few $100,000. I think Roger got a year, and Zab got a year. I think Yoel Judah and Leonard got like 6 months. But Don King said something interesting. Floyd should have been disqualified because Roger Mayweather was the first one to jump in that ring. And the seconds don't belong in there while those 3 minutes going on. So really, Floyd should have been disqualified. So they really should have been gone. But they didn't do it. Because Roger, only time you're supposed to be in that ring, during those 3 minutes, you're supposed to be in there throwing the towel in or something. So yeah, Floyd should have been disqualified, but he wasn't. But yeah, that's what that fight is mostly known for, that brawl. Right? Okay, we're gonna give it a drop the link. I'm gonna finish this off right quick. Cotto was next. Here's Cotto, Miguel Cotto. May 5th, 2012. Miguel Cotto. Okay. And this fight ultimately wasn't that close when it all came down to it. Now, Cotto won no more than 3 rounds on a single judge's card, right? And you really can't make no argument for him winning too many more than that. But he did make Floyd work hard in every round of the fight. And Cotto did apply consistent pressure, committed to his body attack. And he even managed to bloody Floyd's nose. But it was a clear win for Floyd, right? But it wasn't easy. Okay? The Drunken Master. Ain't that his name? The Drunken Master? Oh, no, not that. Yeah, there he is. The Drunken Master. Emmanuel Augustus. Yep. Appreciate you, T. Hill. We're going to chop it up in a minute. Yeah. October 21st, 2000. Now, he was the most robbed man in history, the Drunken Master, but I think his antics kind of turned the judges off, doing 360s and dancing and prancing. And I don't know what he was doing in there, man. Kind of like this kid now, what's his name? They talked about him this morning. I can't think of his name. I put it in there. The English kid kind of does that kind of stuff, doing 360s and stuff. Ben Whitaker, that's him. But the Drunken Master took it to another level. But yeah, he was the most robbed man in history. Guess what his record was? 38 wins, 34 losses. Okay? 6 draws. But he had 20 knockouts. Now, you don't even want to figure out how many times he got robbed, tough win over close decision. But in July 2004, he got the worst judging decision of all time to Courtney Burton. And he was in Burton's hometown. Now, he was nicknamed the Drunken Master, right? He was a tricky, unorthodox fighter with a highly entertaining style. Highly entertaining, right? And he also had power. But Floyd was coming off a 9-month layoff coming into this fight, right? And the Drunken Master was then known as Emmanuel Burton, right? And Floyd ended up getting the fight of his young career before he won by TKO in round 9, okay? And at that time, he said that was his toughest fight up to that point, yeah. Now, this is the fight I thought was his toughest fight right here. Not Castillo or Madonna. I thought it was Oscar. I thought it was Oscar. T. Hill disagrees. T. Hill said Oscar was missing a lot. But Oscar did win on one judge's card, remember? He did win on one judge's card. Yeah, Ben Whitaker. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, Ben Whitaker. That's him. Ben Whitaker. Now, yeah, Floyd only won this fight by split decision. Okay. And the one that gave it to Oscar was 115-113, one of the judges. But Oscar did do a very good job of applying pressure in the first part of the fight. And Roger Mayweather called it again. He said that MF gonna run out of gas. And he did. Probably cost Oscar the fight. Now, Mayweather was forced to hustle hard against a bigger, extremely skilled opponent, right? In the last part of the fight, that's when Floyd pulled away and made it look decisive, okay? Yep. And then Castillo 2. Both of them on it. That's 2. Yeah. That was the second one, December 7th, 2002. This was more than a decade after Floyd's last rematch, right? And it's the last time there was any need for him to fight an opponent the second time. Now, this was 8 months after the first fight, decade after he had last rematched somebody, but it was only 8 months after the Castillo won, right? And he lost a unanimous decision to Floyd, which many people felt Castillo deserved to win. But in the rematch, Castillo once more gave Mayweather all he could handle. And once again, it was a very close fight. But Mayweather clearly won this time. Much more clearer than the first one. Then we had Madonna, the Madonna fight. Everybody like and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 1,000. We're gonna get there. Rome wasn't built in a day. But I appreciate everybody rocking with me today. I hope you're enjoying the show. But the Madonna fight was on May 3rd, 2014. Then we're gonna drop the link. And I didn't think it was as close as a lot of people said it was. You know, I really didn't. I thought Mayweather won, and a lot of people thought Madonna's activity would earn him the nod, right? But then once you go back and look at it, you see Madonna was missing with a lot of punches, right? He that type of fighter, he had that style that impressed the judges, you know. But once you go back and look at it again, you see he was missing. But the judges don't have that luxury of going back looking at it. They can go back and look at it again, but they got to make their decision before they go back and look at it again. So, you know. But then he rematched him, and he won the second fight much more clearer. And then Castillo won. This was April 20th, 2002, just 8 months after the first one. And somebody tried to tell me that Castillo was past his prime when Floyd fought him. The guy was in his 20s both times Floyd fought him, so how's that past his prime? He hadn't even reached his 30th birthday yet. That was somebody that don't know boxing. 29 is not past your prime. His 30th birthday was like 3 weeks after the second fight, Castillo was, okay? And it's still not past your prime. Yeah. And yeah, that fight remains to this day the most controversial of Floyd's career, right? More than 20 years later, we're still talking about it, because I'm sitting here talking about it today. You know, a lot of people thought Castillo deserved the nod in that fight, right? And I thought Floyd got it, but it was a close fight. And the judges did give it to Floyd too wide, and that contributed to the outrage. But I believe Floyd clearly won it. Let's get this link in there. It's 3:30. Unc Dre Finest. What's up, Unc Dre? Unc Dre Finest is in the building. Salute. I had started another sheet for my name, so I don't know where it's at. But yeah, Unc Dre, we did Floyd against the Legends today. And Floyd lost like 9 fights and got stopped like 5 times. Remo got mad because Floyd lost so many. No, he didn't. I don't know why I like messing with Remo. I'm gonna put the link in. Hey, Remo might come up here and give his opinion on these Floyd fights. You know, this is for everybody though. Everybody in here can hit this link and come chop it up, man. Tell me how much you enjoyed the show, or tell me how much you didn't like it. And if you didn't like it, hit the down thumb. You know, hit one up. It all matters. Okay. I know it. My co-host T Hill gonna come up. We got too much up here, man. But we're gonna get it done. Hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I hope some of the new people come back tomorrow. I don't think this link is right. I don't know what I'm doing. Bear with me for a minute. I'm gonna figure it out. I got the wrong damn day, man. Oh, bear with me. What's the date of today? The 28th? There we go. I got it now. Today is the 28th, right? Been doing good and start messing up at the end. But here we go. Here comes the link, everybody. And this link is for everybody to come up and chop it up with me. I welcome everybody. We always drop the link about 2:30 every day. A lot of people stayed in the building. I appreciate it. Double checking everything. It is. Whoops, there it is. Who is that left? Oh, what's up, Uncle Dre? Yeah, Remo don't like old people. No way. Yeah. That's all. He always talking about old people. Mm-hmm. But Remo had a great show, all jokes aside. Remo had a great show this morning, man. Ooh, wait. I don't even think Remo, I know he know it's good. I don't even think Remo knows just how good his show is, man. That Let's Talk Fashion. Y'all got to check that out. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Do the replay thing on the one from this morning, man. It was good, man. Yeah, I stayed in there and was hanging on every second. And he said that he had what kind of way lost some of the part of the original show he was supposed to do, and he had to play it by ear or something. I don't know. It was good, man. Very good. Part of the JBT lineup, man. A fashion show. Let's Talk Fashion with Remo. Oh shit, T Hill. T Hill, leave me alone, man. Yeah, Link. You supposed to. We said McQueen was in here. Oh, I died. I'm sorry. Running my mouth, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, Ray. I appreciate you. Oh, damn. Sorry about that, T Hill. I'm gonna be quiet for a couple seconds, okay? I don't know what the hell is going on. But we got some we got a member of the winning team in here, D Free. From the great TWT in here today, man. Appreciate D3 for coming by. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a couple seconds. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill's supposed to be up here chopping it up now. It's Remo's fault. I was talking about that fire show he had today. That's what messed me up. I'm not a technology person. I'm old. I don't know nothing about no damn technology. I remember one time Aunt McQueen put my link in from the chat. I still don't know how he did that. I was struggling to get the link and I looked up, Aunt was backstage. I was like, what? That's a bad man. Part of that JBT technological analytical team, along with Rebo and Horry Finks. I hope everybody's having a great day. Join me tomorrow when the Boxing in the States series continues. Yay, I got it. There's Thomas Hill. What's up, Thomas Hill?
Oh, you know, you got the best hand, Cass, man. Excellent show. Excellent. In fact, I think we might have to take Wednesday and make this a thing. You know, make this an actual segment where
the link, this part,
you see that
this part, yeah,
where you highlight or feature fighters and you make them in dream matchups.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it makes for great debate because some of these fights, I mean, could end up being trilogies, man. I'm not going to say that there isn't a fighter who can't beat Mayweather, but I'm also of the opinion that there's not too many fighters that he cannot beat as well, too. And with that, you get some great matchups, and those matchups could produce a great trilogy where, you know, you get a good 3 or 4 fights, and hell, maybe 5. I mean, if it's entertaining enough.
That's how they fought back in the day, though. You know, they fought each other over and over and over like that. A lot of these guys had 5, 6, like Sugar Ray and Jake LaMotta, had 6 fights against each other. So they fight the same people over and over all the time, you know.
No doubt. And back then, I mean, a lot of them fought each other a lot. I mean, hell, you can include, well, I mean, it would have been tough, but Murderers Row, Black Murderers Row, man. I mean, so many times you got people who actually win that ring against somebody.
Didn't the echo, T-Hill?
Huh?
Didn't the echo?
Let me back out and come back in.
I think it's gone. I think you're okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's just me, man.
You
my
good?
phone.
Yeah.
My phone. You can hear me loud and clear, though?
Yeah, it was only for a moment. Yeah, you loud and clear now. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of those matches, man, I mean, tough matches. And Floyd would really have to be on his stuff against some of these matches, some of these boxers that you talking about from the past.
And you know,
then there's some like, you know,
like Tommy Hearns with his talent, his size, and I just can't see what Floyd would do. No way he could beat Tommy Hearns, man. Just too much size.
When you factor in that Tommy was a fantastic boxer who had a tremendous right hand, like a lot of people are not too aware of the fact that he fought Hagler with injuries, and on top of that, you know, fight too. Emmanuel Stewart had him out there the night before the fight, running the beach and running in the sand, doing wind sprints in the sand, man. You know, he was hurt and he was a little drained from the what's her name before, and he still went in there and threw. And I had asked him, because, you know, I'm trying to get him when he gets back. He just recently lost his mom, but I was trying to get
there we go. What's
my good brother
I know. What's up? There we go. What's up, D Free?
What's good? What's good?
Not too much. Slow motion. How you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm good. That was a great cook you did today.
I appreciate it. What you think about the matchups?
I think a couple of them, I think Floyd would have edged it out. Like, it depends on what Floyd Mayweather we talking about. We talking about Pretty Boy, or we talking about Money with Mayweather?
Yeah.
Because I think if we talking about Pretty Boy, I can see him getting a couple of those losses because he took a lot more risks when he was Pretty Boy. When he was Money Mayweather, he was more defensive. He used his ring IQ and he lose his wit about himself, and he broke his opponent down. So it all depends on which Floyd Mayweather is fighting at that time. But I always had Hearns and Ray Leonard all over Floyd. I didn't see at no point in time in his career where he beat Ray Leonard or Hearns.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Do you think Hearns would be able to stop him with the
Hearns?
Yeah, skills he had.
Yeah, because the simple fact, Hearns was so rangy, and Hearns would have kept Floyd on the outside, and he would have got full extension on his punches. So I think especially if they was fighting 15 rounders, Floyd would have gassed out, and Hearns would have got him in those later rounds.
You gotta factor
and
that in.
Like with Ray Leonard, the problem that Floyd had, and we saw that when he fought jab judo, when he fought guys that can match his hand speed, he had problems with those type of individuals. He had problems with chop shop. He had problems with jab judo because they can match his hand speed. And even with Shane Mosley, even though he I believe he beat Shane Mosley 10 out of the 12 rounds, but there was those 2 rounds where Shane Mosley got the better of Floyd. He rocked him twice in 1 round. So I mean,
the first round.
Yeah, I think Ray Leonard probably would have stopped Floyd as well. A lot of people say they think Floyd would be able to go to the decision. What a lot of people don't know about Ray Leonard, like the younger generation, they know about Ray Leonard because we talk about him, but they don't know exactly how much power Ray Leonard had. He had exceptional hand speed, but he also had exceptional power for his size. Like Ray Leonard carried his power late in the fight because he stopped Hearns in the 15th round. If it wasn't for that stoppage, Hearns would have beat him. So he had to let that fight play out, though.
Yeah, they should have let that fight play out. He should have been able to have the right to stop him, and Tommy deserved the right to go on and finish the fight by stopping it. That's how it was going to play out. That was my only complaint about that fight. I thought they stopped it prematurely. They should have let it go. But you're right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, but I think Ray probably would have stopped Floyd Mayweather because of his hand speed and his power. I think he would have, because the thing that Floyd had over a lot of people was his defense and that Philly shell. Well, Ray fought his father, and he dismantled that Philly shell. That Philly shell didn't have no defense against Sugar Ray Leonard. So I don't think Floyd would have made it the distance.
What about some of them older guys like Henry Armstrong? You familiar with them?
Yeah. Those older guys. I think Floyd definitely would have got stopped by Aaron Pryor. But I think another guy that probably would have stopped Floyd was Salvador Sanchez. I think Salvador Sanchez would have stopped Floyd because of the simple fact, at that time, Floyd at 135, Floyd took a lot of risks. And Salvador Sanchez was also another fighter that had good hand speed, and he had a great ring IQ for being so young. He had a great ring IQ, and he could make adjustment on the fly. And I think he's another one that would have stopped Floyd. I think William Pratt. I think William Pratt would have frustrated Floyd. I think he would have frustrated Floyd. I just think his defense. Yeah, Willie Pratt. I think his defense was so good.
Yeah.
I think his defense was so good that it would have just frustrated Floyd because Floyd wouldn't have known what to do with that defense. He never faced nobody that had defense that was better than his defense.
That's right. He sure didn't. Yeah, Willie Pratt. I agree with that. I put Willie as number 1 defensively. Will you rank him against Pernell Whitaker? Willie.
Because Pernell trained Floyd, I think Pernell would have outsmarted Floyd. I think he would have outsmarted Floyd. Because Chop Shop said this a while back. We was talking to Chop Shop on an interview, and Chop Shop said him and Floyd used to go train with Sweet Pea down at Virginia Beach a lot. They used to go train with Sweet Pea. And
I heard that.
He was like, man, he was like, they get in the ring with Sweet Pea, and Sweet Pea wouldn't throw no punches. He would just be defensive. He wouldn't throw no punches.
Right.
So I don't think Floyd would have beat Sweet Pea. I don't think there was. It would. No, Floyd would have
beaten him too. Yeah, but he's stitching though. You know.
Yeah, Sweet Pea would have beat him. Yeah, it would have been definitely been a decision. Okay. But Sweet Pea would have. I think Sweet Pea probably would have beat him like 10 rounds to 2.
Been wide. Okay. Yeah. And I want that Duran. How about Roberto? I had Roberto Duran beating him too. Yeah. That one is. I'm tossed by that because I think Floyd defense is good enough for Roberto Duran. It's just a matter of will Floyd be able to take the body work that Roberto Duran would have dished out. Mm-hmm. If Floyd could avoid that body work, I think he'll beat Roberto Duran. But if he can't avoid that body work, I think Roberto will break him down. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Roberto would eventually get to him and break him down late. Yeah. But you're right. If Floyd could get past that, then he would have a good shot at it. Yeah. If he could hold Duran on. What happened to T Hill?
I don't know what happened to her. He dropped on.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, I feel the same way with Roberto. Yeah, if Floyd could have got past that body work, he probably could have got the decision from Roberto. Might have been kind of similar to the second Sugar Ray fight, you know. The second Duran and Sugar Ray. You know how Sugar Ray.
You're exactly right about that one.
Yeah. How he frustrated, and Floyd might have been able to do that to him.
I think they probably had an issue with
right. Yeah. But it would have been a good one. And,
I've never actually seen nobody actually go through all of them and break it down. Floyd versus the legends. They picked a fight here and there, but that was definitely a great cook right there.
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, what about Benitez? What you think about that one? Wilfred. I gave it to Benitez too.
I think Floyd would have got him. I think Floyd would have got him. I think Floyd. Yeah, I think Floyd was his hand speed and his power at 135. I think it'll eventually played a part with Benitez because we gotta remember Sugar Ray Leonard, he beat Benitez too. And it was the hand speed that Sugar Ray had. The hand speed, Benitez couldn't do nothing with it.
Yeah, I had forgot all about that one. Yeah, Sugar Ray did beat. Yeah, he couldn't do nothing with Sugar Ray. Yeah. So I would probably have to change that one. He would probably get Wilfred. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. That's what I do every day. Just old fights and boxing history and stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these young people, they don't know about the old fight. They hear what we talk about, but they haven't watched those fights. They so caught up on the young guys, but they gotta understand if it wasn't for these old guys, it wouldn't have been none of these young guys. A lot of these young guys. I mean, like I said, a lot of these young guys, they trying to be like Floyd and protect that old and wanna retire undefeated. Well, I mean. Floyd, he retired undefeated, but he wasn't the only one that retired undefeated. There was other people that retired undefeated.
Yes, it was.
I mean, you got Andre Ward retired undefeated.
Yeah, I did a list of them last week. Rocky Marciano, Joe Kawasaki. There was a few of them.
Yeah, they're like, Floyd. Yeah, they were like, well, Floyd was 50-0. Okay, but they're going to Cesar Chavez was like 93. Before he lost his first fight, he was like 93-0.
Yes, that's right. He got up into the 90s. There was a guy named Ricardo Lopez fought at 105. He retired 51-0, but he had a draw, but he was 51-0. A lot of people just focus on Floyd. Yeah. It was a bunch of them.
None of that. Jacob Plug.
Floyd was a heck of a fighter. I take nothing from Floyd.
You can't take that from him, no.
Yeah, he was a heck of a fighter, but in my opinion, he wasn't the best fighter of all time.
No,
I always had it between Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali. It was always between those two.
That's my top two.
It was always between those two for me.
Yeah.
I will favor Sugar Ray Robinson because of what Sugar Ray Robinson did. Like, Sugar Ray Robinson went through almost every weight class except for the heavyweight. He was so good that they had to create the pound for pound because the only division that he didn't fight in was heavyweight.
And look at all the fights he had, man. Like 150, 160 fights. Like the man went on vacation and was taking fights on the weekend while he was on vacation.
That's why I DJ got to
that's how they did it. And them guys stayed in shape, man, because they didn't have time to get out of shape because they was always fighting, you know.
Right. And like you said, there was guys that was fighting 10, 15 times a year.
Yeah, that was the norm.
I mean, these guys fight once or twice a year, and they think they doing some work.
Yeah,
you ain't really doing no work.
Yeah, boxing has really changed, really have. But it's good to talk about the old times, you know, keep it in perspective. You know what's going on now. It's good to know the history.
GP said Floyd beat those boys. Y'all look at Floyd now, but y'all forget about what those guys was back then.
Right.
Like I said, I don't take nothing away from Floyd. Floyd was a heck of a fighter. Not saying Floyd couldn't last in the 80s and all that stuff. But to say he would be undefeated, nah. See, that's the reason why those guys got so much praise, because they was fighting each other. And that's the thing that I said the other day when we was doing a live on BBO. Yeah. And I said, I at no point in my time, me watching fights for over 40 years now, have I seen so many guys undefeated that's supposed to be the best of the division.
Right.
You might, and those times when Sugar Ray Leonard and them was fighting, you might have about 4 guys that was undefeated. Everybody else got a loss.
Everybody got a loss, yeah. Because you was always fighting the best, you know?
Yeah.
There was no fights where you knew who was going to win. There was no fights went on where you knew who the winner was going to be. Usually, anybody could beat anybody on any given fight, you know.
What we talking about?
Yeah.
And then when people say that these fighters from these eras can beat these guys, they can't say that because they never watched film or anything of these guys fight. So you got to say that. You got to go watch these guys fight first.
I mean, it's a different era. When you in different eras, you go through different things. Like,
that's right.
These guys now don't train like the guys trained back then. Like, they got so many equipments to make lifting weights, making working out is much easier for you to do. Back in the days, you had to do that joint and you had to bring it out of the mud. You was out there running the streets. You was lifting weights at whatever gym you can lift weights at. You was working out wherever you can work out at. It wasn't you ain't had all these universal machines and all these yoga classes and all this other stuff that they doing nowadays. They ain't have all that.
They didn't have all that.
Literally in the gym working out, and you had to have an 8-week camp, or you was gonna come in out of shape because you was fighting 15 rounds.
That's
and
right.
if you was fighting 12 rounds, it was going to be the 12 of the hardest rounds you fought. Like, the 12 rounds back then is like them fighting 8 rounds now. They're going to be going all out for 12 rounds. They're going to be going all out for 12 rounds.
And you was fighting the top fighter. You wasn't in there against no cab drivers like they call them or whatever. You was in there against a top fighter, man, trying to take your title.
You gotta look at it. We had an undisputed title between Ray Leonard and Hearns. They were what, 25 years old in their mid-20s, and they both was undefeated. They both was undefeated, and they fought for undisputed.
That baby ain't Jake
And look at the kind of fight it was too. Look at what they went through.
How you got another baby father that shit?
And they built their way up to be the top of the division. They fought guys at going to be undefeated for undisputed. They wasn't taking. I mean, yeah, they when they first came in the game, they had some easy work. But as they got up in the because Ray Leonard was what 22-0 before he got his first title fight.
Yeah,
22-0 before he got his first title fight.
Yeah, you didn't get no titles at no 9-0. You wouldn't walk around on 9-10-0 with walking around with some kind of belt on your shoulder back in them days, man. No.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, those guys really had to put us some work. So it's a different era because I look at the heavyweights now. The heavyweights now, they're not making it into those time with Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and Holyfield. They're not making it into that time.
And you know
you might get one or two that Mike can bang during those times, but the rest of them they wouldn't even be fighting.
And you know, to put it in perspective, the fight you was just talking about, Sugar Ray and Hearns when they were so young and fighting for the undisputed title, that fight still talked about as legendary to this day.
That's why, and that's why I keep telling people. Like people say, "Oh, if Devin Haney and Tank Davis fight is a legacy fight. If Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson fight is a legacy fight." I'm like, nah, that's not a legacy fight. It's only a legacy fight if we talking about it 15, 20 years from now.
Later.
Then that's a legacy fight.
That's what make it legacy. They got the wrong definition for legacy nowadays, man. They got the wrong definition.
Right. It's not a legacy fight because we think that they're going to be good fighters in the future. That's what we think. But no, it's not a legacy fight until if it's a fight like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. People say, "Oh, that was a legacy fight for Manny Pacquiao and Floyd." No, it wasn't. Nobody talks about that fight.
That damn already is just it ain't 10 years later yet. You know.
Right.
That don't compare to Sugar Ray and Hearns, and that was like almost 40 years ago. And Floyd and Manny ain't even been 10 years yet, and Sugar Ray and Hearns is way bigger than that.
Yeah, that was like what? Almost 40 some years ago. Almost 40 years ago.
82, wasn't it? I think it had been 40. Yeah. Like 82.
Yeah, it's like 39. 39,
something
38,
like that.
something like that.
Almost 40. Right.
So, yeah. So they nah. I mean, everybody they throw these titles around to make the fights bigger than what it is, but the fight is only big if it's entertaining and we talking about it.
Yeah.
Like
just because it's the biggest fight now, don't make it a legacy fight. You know. It may be the biggest fight in today's boxing, but it don't make it a legacy fight. No.
Like, I mean, there's not a lot of fights right now today that we talk about like that. There's not too many. Even the Earl Spence and Bud Crawford fight. Nobody really talks about it. We might mention it from time to time, but nobody talks about it. Hey, that was a heck of a fight. No, it wasn't. It was one-sided.
It ain't gonna be talking about it no 40 years from now, like Sugar Ray and Hearns. No way, man. That'll be forgotten.
So I mean, I just like I say all the time, I try to be realistic when it comes to these fighters, and I call it how I see it. Yeah, we want these fights to happen, and if it's a good fight, then it would be a legacy fight. If it's a good fight and we talking about it year after year. Remember that fight when Tank and Shakur mixed it up and they battled all the way to the last bell? Then we will be saying that's a legacy fight because we'll be talking about it for years from now. But These fighters, I don't think they do enough to make it a legacy fight. Like these fighters want it too easy. Everybody want a big bag right away instead of actually making themselves worth a big bag.
Yeah. And I think the sanctioning bodies and all them have a lot to do. It's too many belts, man. You see fighters that's like 5 fight prospects standing in the ring with a belt draped over their shoulder.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's just too much. Yeah. You didn't see that back then. You had the WBA, WBC. You didn't have all these interims and all this kind of nonsense.
Yeah, James Toney was another one that was a heck of a fight. I don't think there's nobody at 54 or 60. Well, I know definitely at 60, but I don't think there's nobody at 54 or 60 that was messing with James Toney when he was in his prime. I don't think so. Maybe Bud Crawford, but I have to see what he looked like in his next fight at 54 because he didn't look too hot at 54 at that fight. He did enough to he did enough to pull a win off, but he didn't look too hot.
He wouldn't have been able to deal with lights out. Not that Bud Crawford.
Yeah, not that Bud Crawford. I don't think he would have landed. He wouldn't be able to land a punch.
No, he might have got stopped.
Like that's the one thing that lights out was he had great head movement. Like it was hard to land a punch on James Toney.
Yeah,
that's why when Roy Jones beat him, he got so much props for it because it was so hard to hit James Toney. James Toney wasn't an easy person to hit.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
So that's why I think somebody said it earlier today. They said, do you think Bud would be able to beat Roy Jones? I like prime Roy Jones.
No.
Bud probably gets stopped messing with a prime Roy Jones.
That wouldn't even be hard for Roy.
He'll get stopped messing with a prime Roy.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys they not built the same as they was back in the day.
That's the condition. Conditioning to deal with them people.
Like these guys get injured. They be out for like a year or two.
I know.
Back in the day, right? Back in the day, they get injured. They put some tape on that joint. They getting right back in there.
Willie Pepper's I
gotta get some money. I gotta get this money.
Willie Pepper's in a plane crash and fought 10 more times a year after he was in a plane crash, man.
Right. Like everybody talking about. They were like, oh. Like Sugar Ray Leonard, he had one fight in 5 years before he fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Yep.
He retired, took 2 years off, came back and fought. I forgot the guy he fought, but then he had a torn eye retina.
Right.
And took 2 more years off, and then came back and fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Moved up in weight at that.
And look at the fight he had, man. Look at the fight he had too. Yep.
Yeah. That's one fight in 5 years.
That's legacy type stuff.
Yeah, like every one of the 4 Kings fights are legacy fights.
Yes.
Sugar Ray Leonard versus. The Sugar Ray Leonard versus any one of those guys was a legacy fight. We still talk about those fights.
Still talking about them.
And Sugar Ray Leonard. He only had one loss against the 4 Kings, and that was against Roberto Duran, and he revenged that loss.
That was the only one.
Everybody else had multiple losses. Roberto Duran was 1-3. Everybody else had multiple losses. Sugar Ray Leonard, the only one that only had one loss. Everybody else he beat.
Roberto was the only one. Well, okay, D-Free, we're gonna have to get ready to get out of here, but I appreciate you, bro.
No problem, man. I appreciate you letting me up, and I mean, great cook. I'll definitely be back.
2 to 4, Monday through Friday. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
Always welcome, bro.
All right.
Salute to the winning team, TWT.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, we're gonna get ready to get out of here now. That was D-Free from the winning team. We're gonna go over to Just Do Boxing. Appreciate everybody that came through today. This is one of them days. I got too many names. I always read the names. I got too many today, but that name reading at the end gonna have to end. But I think I called off everybody that came in. Aunt McQueen is in the building now. Joseph S. I didn't even see GP come in. Just Do Boxing is in. BN Boxing News. Is this today's Al Booger? But anyway, everybody have a good day. Appreciate you for rocking with me. We will be back tomorrow for the Boxing in the States series. And this week is going to be Illinois. Illinois has a good boxing history because of Chicago. Deep box. A lot of big fights in Chicago and a long history. Boxing was banned there for a little while in the early part of the century. But it came back in the 20s and been going ever since. But everybody have a great day. Just Do Boxing is probably in progress. This is Cast Sports. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Oh, James Brody, I'm sorry. I didn't announce you. I didn't see you come in, James. Salute. I'm out.